So, dear Dharma practitioners, we practice this meditation to find our own liberation, salvation, freedom, not from this outside world, but from our own inner thoughts or the ideas or the beliefs or our self-centered view. So always you have to remember that and be very clear with it. But even though our main purpose is getting to this inner freedom, we have to look how this inner freedom disappeared because of from this outside we get into a prison. It's kind of like a layers now, layers by layers. So it's kind of like there are some video games, you escape from one place and then the next place become more hard and then the next place become a prison. So you escape from a prison to another prison. So like that in day-to-day life, when it come to our this social life and our conventional life, and sometimes even our spiritual life, if you look very carefully, it is kind of like a layers by layers, layers by layers, covered with the prison ideas to hold us, to bound us. Even the very that in Eastern and Western, there were two different cultures, traditions. But now, when it comes to world, it's called global village now. But in the ancient time, if you look the human history, the mainly that in the East, the people had the idea to find the inner freedom. They used to look for something to get out of this all the prisons. But in the Western, and they start to build the prison little by little, little by little, rather than say that in the East, they used to get out of the prison and according to the time layer that you go with your aging. But in the West, what happened? They start to build the layers and they used to build the prison. As example, family. When it comes to the concept of the family, and they had only one idea when it comes to a family. It's mainly reproduction. This is reproductive idea and holding the self and centered emotions and hold it to love. So that was the main structure when they build up the family. And when it come to village, now you say that you go to certain places, communities, and they say village, village, village. What is that? From where this came, this word? What is the meaning of the village? When you go to the village, in the beginning of the history, they used this word to keep a certain kind of people to keep in the same place, to keep reproducing their own people, and they hold the wealth, tradition, and believing security, and without allowing it to go to somebody else. And they keep their bloodline through reproduct, they used to marry the same family members, and then because of the, it's mainly the base with the reproduction. The wealth came later, and then they used to share the same wealth around them. And then the believing system or the religion came later, the third one. They used to practice the same kind of believing system, and then the security came as the fourth result, and then they feel more security. Why? Because they have the same family. Why? They're reproducing and marrying the same people, they know each other very well, and then because of that, the wealth is more comfortable and secure, and then their believing system going to become more comfortable and secure. No one going to to attack. So then they feel more comfortable. That is what called village. So it's a kind of like the layer, you build a prison around you, not to allow anybody to become free. And then the certain villages came, and it come to the city and the state, and then the country. When it come to the city, and then it became the power, and when it come to the state, and it become political, and when it come to the country, it's all kind of like the business. So now it's a layers by layer where you can escape from now. Just imagine, if you don't want this anything, if you look for real freedom yourself, where are you going to go? Because all the forest, all the mountain belong to country, and or everything now governed by rules. And then that all the rules, or the what you call as the constitution, or the power, or even is state power, or communism, that whatever, that all they all think about, that they come to talk about the people whoever living in that place. But where it finally end, it finally ending making people and keeping people according to the way they want. That's mean prison. So then when you look for the freedom, going with this social, or the going with this conventional way, you will in a conventionally you will never find a way, because through the social, it never allow you to become free. That's what you have to understand. There is no place it allow you to be free. Everywhere try to bound you through every way. And that's why, the well-maintained country, the well-maintained, economy means you cannot earn one penny without paying tax. So that's well-maintained economy. So that's mean what? You bound to something. So going with this is the very nature of the the sansara. This is what called, because it bound, it put you from this prison to that prison. And then you think, oh, I breathe. Then, but it is a larger prison than you think. So then when you look for the real freedom, it is only the place that you can find it in your head. That is the place that you have to look inside your life. So that's why looking for this outside freedom, you will never get it. Remember that. And through the politicians and through the leaders and through depending from somebody, and you will never find the freedom. Only the place that you can address the freedom, real freedom, is inside you. If you look for that, no one can disturb that, or no one can stop it. But the thing is this, when it comes to look for the freedom, we start to look and go with this outside world. You know, in the history, even when it comes to the religions and how many wrong believings people used to follow, and thinking about the many ideas, even still there are some so wrong, even we think that this is the very advanced science and technology, more smarter than ever, and sometimes they are wrong believing. Mm. And we caught up with the images and the ideas and the concepts, and we used to have a lot of wrong beliefs regarding the earth, and most we still believe the earth, this earth is the center of the universe. Still believe there are some. Forget about Hubble telescope or anything. It doesn't matter how many light years you can see. They don't want to get out of that. They believe this is the center of it. And how many people believe this earth is, solid and square, and still, and the earth, sun, this all the planets and moving around this, you know. So, and still, there are many things that we hold it to, that there is no base, or there is no kind of like real meaning of it. It's like a big bang. The one time this everything blow out, and then still it's keep moving. So like that. Another thing is the latest one is that the structure of the atom. You may see that the genius, the Apple Store Genius Bar also, they use that structure. It's like a universal pattern. And the new scientists, they don't accept it. They say it is not like that. That structure is completely wrong. It is an illusion. See, it's they now themselves they say it. So then, when it comes to this conventional life, and when you look for outside information, and we keep going, look for the happiness, success, and the freedom, where you end? You end with another prison. Maybe you end with someone else's ideas. You end with someone else's concept. But when it comes to vipassana, that is a place that you can destroy, eliminate, and get out of this all and find the real freedom. Ekaino ayang maggo satipatthana. That is the only way that you can, contemplating and developing your, four foundations, observing your own body, not by, looking for outside world. So then remember yourself, practicing meditation is one of way that you get out of this all the mental prison every day, because otherwise through the society or the culture, tradition, this everything that we go with the conventional life, it always put us to a place to get tight, not for the freedom, not for salvation, not for liberation, not for even conventional success, We come to a point, this 2020 today, you know, it's almost, ending part of the year. But we come to a point to understand there is no leader, there is no kind of like a person really think about all over the world, really think about people. There's no one. Everybody think about their own things. So then you have responsibility yourself. At least find the, without getting disturbed from this outside, at least find your inner freedom. When it comes to that inner freedom, there you have to be very careful that the what you have to be very careful. There is a story for that. With that story, we go to that. So there was a monk. He used to go for pindapata, go for food, place to place. And there was a goldsmith. He was the best in that city. He used to work for the king. And this monk used to go to this place also. And everybody know this monk in that family. So one day early morning, the king sent a piece of a little gem to this goldsmith to make a jewelry. So what the goldsmith did, an early morning, he came out and he saw this person came from the palace, and he took it and it started to examine. And by the time what happened, he was ready to cook him. He was cutting some meat, and he had some blood in his hand. But this is from the palace, and he was so hurried to wash even his hand. He just came out and touched the diamond with the the gem with the blood in the hand. And the diamond, the gem also, not that the contact with the blood. At the same time, what happened? The monk came, look for food, the pindapath. And he had a great respect to the monk. And he suddenly saw this monk in front of him. What he did, he put that gem somewhere in his house in an open place. He just went to inside to bring some food for the monk. And at the same time, there was a bird. It's like in our countries there is a bird called myna. It's like a pigeon, a little bit smaller than pigeon. And sometimes this bird can talk very well. It is smart than the parrot can talk. So this bird, and this person used to feed little bit meat every day. And this bird saw this gem, and it thought it's kind of like a piece of meat because it had blood. So what the bird did, and came and took it to the mouth. So the monk saw that. What happened? But monk was so silent. Monk didn't say anything. Monk saw that. That's it. And the person came, the goldsmith came and offered the food. And the monk went back, and he also went inside the house. He forget that he put the gem. And then by evening, he thought, oh, early morning king sent the piece of gem, so I have to make the jewelry. So, and then he start to look for that. It missing. Now what happened? And he start to think, who came? After the person from the palace, only one person visited the house. That is only monk. There was no one else. So then he started to think, for sure, this monk took that gem. And next day early morning, when the monk as usual came for Pindapat, and he took the monk inside the house and tied the monk and he start to beat and ask, tell me and give me the gem. It is not belong to me. It is from the king. I have to make the jewelry. Otherwise, he going to cut my head and I'm going to get punished. So give me the. So the monk told, I didn't get it. And now he start to beating the monk. So then the monk thought, if I tell it's that the inside the this bird mouth, what will happen? He going to kill the bird. So the monk thought he cannot, you know, tell that information. Why? Because then he going to kill that bird. So the monk told, I don't know. I didn't get. And then he start to keep beating. And because from the goldsmith side point of view, he's right. Why? Because no one came after that. Only the monk came. Then he thought, okay, this monk should take it. And from the monk side, now monk think, if I tell the information, he going to kill right away this bird. No, this the life is life. So it is better, I take my that hold it to my life. Why this, how I can, you know, tell about the bird, because I don't want to see that bird going to die. It is innocent animal. So somehow he was beating, and the blood all came from the monk. So this bird used for the blood, and it showed the blood. And then what happened? The bird came at the same time and start to, to touch the blood. So the man was, the goldsmith, so angry about the bird also. And because he was so angry because of the fear. And then what he did, he saw the bird came and he was, he kicked the bird. And then bird he hit somewhere and died. And then the monk told, you can find the gem inside the bird. And the person went and, opened the bird and he found the gem. And the monk, was critically injured, but himself, he he protected that his wish, and he hold it to his vows, and he with that happiness that he earned, he attained to the enlightenment. And he passed away. The monk passed away, and the bird died, and the person who that he found the gem. And but later he was so worried what happened. So when you look for inner freedom, the very first rule that you have to remember, don't assume. Assumption is one of the biggest barrier for our freedom. So through the vipassana, that's why to get into the clarity is not easy. That's why when it comes to vipassana, the meditation technique, it directly you go, because we used to assume with the comparison. The comparison take you to assume. If you don't compare, if there is no comparison, your mind not going to assume. So in conventional life, that is what we do. But the power of the vipassana means direct perception, clear comprehension. That is what you need, not the assumption, not the comparison. But if you depending on that, or if you get rest and if you feel more secure, if you learn to be like that way, how are you going to experience the higher way of understanding? So then remember the very first rule, if you look for the freedom, assumption. So how the assumption come? Assumption come through the comparison. Comparison is the power. The comparison is the leader. And the assumption is a byproduct of the comparison. Remember that. So the comparison comes from the dualistic mind. So when you get out of the dualistic mind, no comparison. When there is no comparison, that is where the direct perception happening. So then, how that, when something happen like that way, because everybody, from every angle, everybody thinks right. When it come to in day-to-day life, it doesn't matter whatever the bad person or whatever the criminal person, drug dealers, terrorists, everybody in the society. When it comes to that, their life, everybody think they are right. And you don't believe that all the bad people do all the bad things looking for something good for them. It is so difficult even to mentally understand. All the bad people, it doesn't matter whatever, all the hard things, bad things, wrong things, everybody do that things from their point of view, looking for something good. So how, that is why this, through this comparison, dualistic mind, you always going to caught up and get into another prison. Maybe conventionally, and you can argue, you are right, that is the right thing, you getting success. So in according to, the 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 place or the person, according to the subject of, point of view, what is success meaning when it comes to conventional life? Just imagine yourself, for practicing meditation for yourself, maybe you have success for something. Thief, what is success? Murderer, what is the success for the murderer? Drug dealer, what is the success of that drug dealer? Liar, what is the success of liar? Telling lie and making another lie bigger than that lie. That is the success for that person. So then when it comes to your life, you have to be very careful. If you look for the freedom, remember, you hold it to, mostly we fail. We depending from others because assumption. But through the Buddha's teaching, deeply, clean your mind through this meditation. And this is how it affects for your life. It go to the deep cleaning, not the surface level of, no. It's deep cleaning inside. You become good hygiene person, to this quality, and to get out of the assumption. Because there is a way in your mind when you don't think, you understand. There is a way when you don't think, you understand. So through the vipassana, you can get into that. If you don't get into that, remember, you go into from this prison to another prison, even through the samatha meditation, even through the high mental powers. From this life, sometimes from human life, somebody go to heaven and become a deity, angel. And it is what? It is from this prison to another bigger, more successful prison. So like that. So then in day-to-day life, it is a skill, a profitable skill you have to develop with your mind, with your attitude. So then how, when a situation come like that, what happened? And how you going to to understand what is the situation, what happened to the gem. So in conventionally, you cannot understand it. Conventionally, you will never understand it. But if you have the kind of like a direct perception or the clear comprehension, your mind start to see that. That is completely different. It's sometimes it kind of like so crazy, because it already happened. There are people kind of like detectives. They train the mind like a criminal investigation when they go to situations. So whatever happened, murder happened, things happen, and no one around that area. They enter to the house, and they can tell exactly the place the person used to sit and what happened. So like that, they exactly tell they can get into that exactly what happened. It is not assumption, it is not comparison. No, it is more beyond than that. So the very first thing, this, when you hold something in your hand, you cannot get something to this. So the very first thing, then you have to learn to release, and then you open. So like that, the first you have to get out of the assumption. So in day-to-day life, look yourself. When a situation come, don't go to just quick, and action. So don't try to judge according to the way that you see. It may be completely different. I have many examples through our devotees, because sometimes when the husband and wife situations happen, they come and talk, and husband come separately and they tell what happened. The wife come and tell separately what happened, and the both right. But the the two people, so the same thing, no one wrong, but the two people understood in a different way. You cannot fix it. There are a lot of people got divorced. They had a very good family life. They had everything, all the success and everything. But still, because of that, the way that they saw things and they thought about it, and destroy that everything. So then in day-to-day life, the very first thing, remember, what you see, don't believe. What you hear, don't believe. Conventionally, we have to go with this, but deeply, spiritually, Just let it be little bit. Be calm, relax a little bit, and get out of the comparison, get out of the assumption, and let your mind to breathe a little bit. And then you're going to see something. That what you see. More closer. Not maybe, the truth, but it can be more closer. So to get into that, you have to practice a little bit, but it's going to be more closer to truth than what you see. Then you're going to see, wow, how it is possible, because I saw it, it is not like that. So then, especially today, through this media, through this, news or anything that what you see, even this, the this TikTok or the prank videos, this everything what you see is completely different. So you no need to just judge it quickly. No, just what you see, little bit relax. That is what you need. That's why you should have a undisturbed mind. Why? Because if you disturb, you go to another prison thinking it is freedom. So think about it and try to practice little by little, little by little, little by little. And then you will see, when you experience, you understand what it is. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no difficulties come to you, may no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbidyo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. Ittavata cha ammehi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.